Evening, folks. How you guys doing tonight? This fine Monday evening. Getting started a few minutes late, but that's all right. I'm your man, Donald King, and I'm here to make you sing. I'm so stupid. Always do too much on the beginning of these. Today is my birthday. I'm 45. 45, that's a lot of years. It's funny, when you're young, how you experience time is relative to the amount of time you've lived. So when you're young, everything seems like it's going really, really slow. And then the more exposure you have to time lapse is the quicker time seems to pass. So, I'm looking around wondering how I got here. Reality decided to bless me with a nice birthday gift. It was like, have a zit. I got a zit on my nose. I recently went back to a vegan diet, and apparently everything tightened up before I had done all of my exfoliating, so it's here for your viewing pleasure. By the way, you'll notice tonight I do not have my trusty coffee with me. I figured tonight would be a bit of an experiment. I'm going to see if I can dial in while being distracted and without any sort of stimulant to help me in that way. This might be a two-part series because if I mess up the explanation on this one, I might try to circle back to it when I have a little bit of caffeine assisted me. But the point of tonight's podcast is intuition. What is it? This is one of the most, misused words I hear slung about recklessly, and I decided to try and explain it at least according to how I'm able to see it through this perspective that I've been afforded, right? Intuition isn't anything like humans expect it to be or sort of perceive it as, okay? And I get into this in my video series called Organizing Intelligence, right? But intuition is, in fact, a sensory faculty akin to sight, taste, touch, smell, hearing, and kinesthesia, okay? You learn through intuition. You take in information through the faculty of intuition, okay? And you have to forgive me as I fumble through my words a bit because it's like I haven't actually practiced using language models on this subject, at least verbalizing them in the way that I'm going to attempt to in this podcast. But what is intuition? Okay? Again, intuition is a sensory faculty. Intuition is, in essence, it's kind of like an invisible umbilical cord that connects you to the body of a greater host organism. All right? Okay, so in my work, I describe the two primary modes for processing information and reality that organisms on this planet run on. All right? There's the intuitive operating system, and then there's the budgetary and or parasitic or corrupt operating system, okay? So you have corruption and then you have nature and reality. Intuition is like an invisible umbilical cord that connects you to reality, okay? And what I want you to keep in mind is the fact that reality is very much like you. It's very much like the body of this universe in that it's a body, okay? It's a body. It's like an organism. It's akin to an organism. Okay? Why is it important to understand this? Because it all works at a biomechanical level. Everything that you witness, everything that you perceive, it works biomechanically. Okay? Principles, all the things that I'm describing in the way of frames, I'm actually translating these frames for natural organization into idealism-based languages. However, these are static structures. They're unchanging, Okay? Regardless of how old the body of this universe gets, there's still a core set of principles that applies to how it functions, and those principles translate across the entirety of reality. Intuition. So let me explain it to you like this. Look at my hand. Look at my hand. This is what appears to you to be a solid structure. It can contract, it can protract, it can bend back and forth. Yet it is comprised of billions upon billions upon billions of cellular building blocks, which are comprised of even smaller structural building blocks. I pass information from my mind through my central nervous system to my hand, and I cause it to contract or retract. How do all of these cellular building blocks know when to bond together on this side of my hand in order for it to collapse into a fist, and then to extend so as not to break on the other side? How do they know to bond together and to separate? It's through the intuitive network. So I want you to think, like, let's say there are, I don't know, 2 galaxies down within here that down within the sort of crease in my finger. 2 or more galaxies, they get an intuitive impulse. Hey, you need to get closer together. You over there, y'all over there. Y'all need to separate. Nothing gives them a verbal command to do so. Through my central processing system, through my mind, I send commands. Now, healthy cells on my body, they can hear these commands and they learn when they're supposed to bond and when they're supposed to be distant and separate. It's mechanical. When you're dialed into reality, when you're synced up with reality, you're synced up with the body. That body gives you instructions on how to move. The body gives you instructions on how to move. Hey, go left. Go right. Don't go there. Stop short of that. You're going to fall. You're going to get hurt. You see, and this brings us to the problem with humans. Humans can't tell the difference between desire and intuition. They can't hear reality because they're dialed into the internal narrative. They run on the system of idealism. Reality will say, hey, don't go there. And in the pit of your gut, you're like, no, that doesn't feel right. And you avoid it, you steer away from it, and then calamity fell, and somehow you knew not to do it. What was that voice that told you not to do it? Intuition. When reality is speaking to you, when reality is speaking through you, it is because of the intuitive operating system. It is a body. When that body is passing instructions to its respective cellular building blocks, those that are tuned to reality, they can hear it. Those that are lost in the inner story, those that are lost in the identity, they can never tell when reality is speaking to them, when intuition is kicking in and giving them instructions, because they can't hear reality. They can only hear themselves and things that reflect their inner story back to them. As I mentioned before in a previous podcast, parasitism is an extension of the greater body of corruption. When you look at a body, when you look at the body of an organism, and you see something per se like necrosis, All right. What you're actually seeing, like let's say there was this, let's say this finger had gangrene on it right now, right? And that it was all black and corroded down here. And then you had the rest of the hand that was maybe not affected in that way. The cellular building blocks in the corrupt area, which of them are salvageable and which aren't? Those that can still hear instructions from the body, however, those that are given to corruption simply can't. Those that are corrupt cellular building blocks, they can't hear. They can't hear instructions coming from the body. They're lost in corruption. They're lost in an unreachable state wherein they're in this recursion of echo chambers, and they run on a completely different system than what the body runs on. So, I'm going kind of meta right now, and I'm explaining this to you in a meta fashion, but let's make it a little bit more relatable. Let's bring it down to what people can understand and comprehend at like the ground level right now. Reality is the phenomenon humans refer to as God. God operates and functions like a body. Okay? Because it operates and functions like a body, healthy cellular building blocks belonging to that body can hear instructions coming from the body, and they can respond. Cellular building blocks that are corrupt, they cannot hear instructions coming from the body, and as such, well, they have to be purged because they necessarily represent a type of danger to the body. The body has to cut them away. If you have a strong sense of intuition, then it means you're synced up with reality. If your faculty of intuition is diminished significantly because you can't tell the difference between intuition and desire, then more than likely you're corrupt. If you're corrupt, then reality must purge you to save itself. In addition to making up for all the imbalances that you've caused and contributed to as a result of being corrupt. However, this is how it works at a mechanical level. Most humans can't tell the difference between intuition and desire. People, they know what they want, and sometimes they confuse what they want with what they're being guided towards. Intuition and desire rarely align perfectly. There's a difference between what you want to do and what feels right to do. Many of you out there, you followed me for some time now. You've been kind of dancing around my page. I mean, you don't like me, but something in you tells you not to look away. What is that? What about you understands that there's something about me that should be heeded or at the very least monitored? What is your intuition telling you? Can't tell the difference between intuition and desire. Can't tell the difference between intuition and desire. So look at it like this. Let's say, and this is something that I've been through myself. Let's say that there's a beautiful woman, stunning. She's everything that you think you want in life. And you're like, I need her. I want her. And everything in your gut tells you it's a bad move. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's a bad ride. But you're sitting here like, no, I feel it in my heart. I need her, man. I feel it in my heart. I need her. And you ignore reality trying to speak to you and steer you away from what's bad for you. You always regret it on the back end, don't you? It's always met with, I knew I shouldn't have. Something told me that. What is that something that told you? Why didn't you listen to it? I'll tell you why. Because you made a decision with your identity as opposed to with your natural and authentic self. You didn't listen to reality, you listened to your identity, and your identity leads you wrong, leads you down the wrong path pretty much 10 out of 10 times. Difference between intuition and desire. Desire is based in the identity. Desire is based in parasitism. And I'm not saying that it's like you can't want things, and I'm not saying that wanting things necessarily is tantamount to parasitism. However, desire is more like an appetite that can never be filled. You know, when you think about parasites, when you think about parasitism, the main thing that you should keep in mind is the fact that what motivates parasites towards reality is consumption. It's desire. The thing is, parasites consume not based on need, but based off of desire, based off of what they want. And desire is a bottomless pit. Desire is a bottomless pit. You can throw all of reality into desire, and desire still wouldn't fill that massive void because, well, desire, it has no bottom, it has no limit. Look at all these people in the world right now who have billions upon billions of dollars and untold amounts of resources for what? For literally no reason other than they desire them. Their desire isn't based in purpose. It's not based in function. It's not based in cognizance for the impacts they make on themselves or others around them or the world around them. It's just based on this unfillable void. And when you let your desire make decisions for you, and or when you let your identity make decisions for you, it usually steers you down the wrong path. You ruin friendships. You ruin relationships. You ruin business partnerships. You ruin everything just chasing desire. A lot of times you might do things saying, oh, this feels right to do. It feels right to do according to which system? According to reality or according to corruption, parasitism, desire? Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference? Hey, we got brother Absurd the Word chiming in. Let me see. Man, I got that intuitive warning a couple times, man. All my spiritual growth occurred after I decided to start listening to my intuition. Indeed. And actually, to tell you the truth, I'm glad that you brought that up because it sort of parlays into how to start developing your faculty of intuition. Because again, it's like a sensory faculty. It's like a sensory faculty. How you start developing intuition is you have to start shirking the identity. You see, when you listen to the identity will make decisions based on the social character. How's this going to make me look? How is this going to make other people see me? How is this going to get me to a place where I can consume? How's this going to make me comfortable? That's what desire, that's the voice of desire. That's what corruption, that's what religion's devil. That's the voice that's always going to be in your ear. When you listen to that voice, it's going to steer you down the wrong path. Hey man, do what feels good. Do what's comfortable and convenient. Do whatever's gonna help you feel important. Right? When you shirk that voice, when you shirk the voice of the identity, the ego, and you start getting authentic and honest, when you start reasoning and practicing reasoning, because reasoning is like another sensory faculty as well, when you start utilizing these natural attributes as opposed to relying on this identity, this ego to make all the decisions for you, you start developing that connection to reality. Your discernment becomes greater, becomes razor sharp. And then you can rely on intuition. You'll be like, nah, that's not the move. That gut feeling, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger the more honest and reasonable you become. See, a lot of people believe that reasoning and intuition are mutually exclusive things. No, they're inclusive. Reasoning and intuition, they're like flip sides of the same coin. When you get really, really practiced in reasoning and honesty, your faculty of intuition grows. And when you start listening to that faculty of intuition, it makes your honesty and your capacity for reasoning exponentially more fluid. So many people ask me what I've done to become as intelligent as I am, and I tell them reasoning and honesty, and no one wants to believe me. Well, I don't want them to believe me. No one wants to acknowledge the fact that something as simple as being authentic and reasoning and honesty could yield these type of results, or this type of results, these types of results, one of them. But yeah, you can't live for the inner story. When you live for the inner story, you're, for all intents and purposes, you're a corrupt life form. You're a parasite. You're a parasite. And I want you to think about it like this. A parasite inside of a body, you like a tapeworm, or even let's just say like a regular ass disease. A disease runs on a different operating system than the body. It invades and destroys. A disease runs on a different type of operating system. That means that the virion have a different way of reasoning than the natural cellular building blocks. They're over here transmuting and destroying and taking for themselves and living selfishly. And they're out of balance with these cellular building blocks that already know how to live and interact mutually and symbiotically. Everything in nature is mutual and symbiotic. Look at humans. Prideful, vain, destructive, like a disease. If you live for the disease, and or you live for your identity and for the social character, then guess what? You're a corrupt life form. All parasites represent corrupt life forms. If you're a corrupt life form, you can't hear nature. You can't hear reality. Your faculty of intuition is all but shut down. You have to practice reasoning and honesty. It's so funny. So many people have it in their mind that they're going to sit back and let some Messiah figure show up and fix everything in their life. He's going to show up and he's going to make me perfect. Take me to heaven and all my sins will be purged because it's like I said, I believed in him. Right? Funny thing is, nobody expects to do the work themselves. If you have any sort of reasoning faculty and your faculty of intuition is intact, then you realize that nothing in reality just shows up and does all of the work for you. If God and or reality provides you with food, it's still your job to pick it up and eat it, isn't it? It's your job to chew. It's your job to swallow. It doesn't just put food in your belly. You have to do your part. And the reason I mention that is simply this. When you listen to your desire, when you listen to your identity says, all I have to do is be on the right team and I'll be saved. Your intuition should tell you that's not the case. No, you're going to have to do your part. You got to step up and get it done. Nothing exists just to cater to you. And if you believe something exists to cater to you, especially a deity and or a Messiah figure, if you believe that it exists exclusively to cater to you, your mind and heart are corrupt. Your mind and heart are corrupt. Intuition. It lets you know where to go and how to navigate through reality. It lets you know who to bond with and who to remain separate from. Which situations to enter into, which ones to distance yourself from. Everything getting about you and your identity. Your desire to feel important and look important towards increasing your opportunities for inclusion and subsequently consumption from within the hive. Intuition. Yo, I was hoping some more people would chime in on this one. I don't know exactly how many people are watching this, but yeah, man. Intuition and desire, they're completely different things. More often than not, and I say more often than not, I'm talking about like 9 out of 10 times, they're mutually exclusive things. It's funny, the more you develop intuitive connection to reality, the more that you work this connection and sort of strengthen it, is the more that you sort of desire things that are, or want for things that are in theme with balance and in theme with reality. You know what I'm saying? The more you develop and enhance this connection is the more that you want things that are balanced and that are mutual and symbiotic and that bring peace and happiness, not just comfort but growth and betterment. Like you start to want better things in general. So in that way, I would say that desire and intuition, they can sort of intersect the more honest you become. However, on the front end, especially coming from the parasitic mind, desire and intuition are rarely going to be the same thing. What you want and what's appropriate to do and or what feels right are almost never one and the same. What you have to learn how to do is learn how to tell the difference between what feels right to do and what you want to do. I want to do this because it feels right. No, you want to do that because you want to do that. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And if it did feel right, then you would have just done it. You wouldn't try to justify it. You wouldn't have tried to justify it. You would have just done it. So yeah, man. This is how it goes. And you know what's really interesting, and this is the point that I want to hit before I dip off of this subject. When intuition doesn't necessarily just have to be confined to nature. Now, here's the funny thing. Because society, even though it is a parasitic construct and even though it is based in corruption, because society takes place within reality, sometimes reality can tap certain players performing within society and performing within parasitism, and it can guide them to do things intuitively. It can. Reality can do anything. It's reality. I mean, again, if you guys, a lot of you guys think reality is this sort of static and damn, how would I say that? I don't know if I've ever used that language before. It is without a sense of personhood. Like, they think that reality is this thing that has that just exists as an abstract, which we project onto and or acquire and procure things from, but it has a sense of personhood. Again, at least in terms of the elements of reality I've been interacting with as avatar for this cycle, dude, it's like a perfect calculator. It is a balancer of systems, and it doesn't have a sense of justice. It understands what everything is supposed to be weighted to according to balance. It's insane. And we have it in our minds, humans have it in their minds per se, or more accurately, that they can just go and destroy systems and take and do whatever they want to do, and that there's no recourse, that the system will not balance itself out for all of the deficits they've caused and contributed to. That they can just do whatever they want to in life, and then upon death, simply exit the mortal coil and move on to oblivion and or non-existence. However, that's simply not the case. If you make a mess over here, you're cleaning it up one way or another. Now, you're going to clean it up on this side of reality. You're going to get to work cleaning up messes you've made and contributed to over here. Or you're going to pass on and something's going to have to clean up behind you. And that thing that comes to clean up behind you, it backcharges all of the deficits and imbalances you've caused and contributed to back to you before you move into your next life cycle. And it's steep interest. Steep interest. A lot of y'all in for a bad ride, man. You're in for a bad ride. Really bad ride. I mean, again, you got an avatar over here that can help you to the best of his ability reverse as much damage as possible prior to moving into the next life cycle. But I mean, it only gets worse by the second, and there's no cap. There's no cap to what the amount of damage you can occur over there. Like, we don't have language models. We don't have concepts. We don't have experiences. We have nothing to compare the type of damage that's done on the other side of existence to, in order for me to properly convey it to you. It's bad. It's bad. Bad is an understatement. It's horrific. It makes hell look like a makes hell look like a vacation. Like literally, you would pay to go to hell and live in hell before going to what comes after this. It's bad, man. And the funny part about it is, as much as you may like or dislike me, as much as you may try to convince yourself that I'm full of shit and or delusional, which obviously me shooting these podcasts and interacting with you in real time to show you my mental state and capacity should let you know that I'm not. Regardless of what you try to do to convince yourself that what I'm saying is fantastic and impossible, your sense of intuition, regardless of how fledgling it may be, recognizes me and understands everything that I'm saying is true. at the core of what you are, you don't even have a choice in the matter. You understand what I'm saying is true. It's consistent with reality. Again, just to give you guys this model, because I really want to drive it home with you. Reality is the phenomenon humans would rightfully refer to as God. Truth is simply what's consistent with reality. In layman's terms, it's what can be verified and exists and functions mutually independent of idealism. Honesty is the individual's will and effort to recognize and sync up with reality as a system. Reasoning is using the mental faculties to suss out what's most consistent with reality. Intuition is the invisible umbilical cord connecting you to reality through which information is passed, which helps you guide your way through life and or navigate through life through interactions and relationships. What does your intuition tell you? What does your intuition tell you about me and what I'm saying right now? You may desire for me to be wrong. You may desire for me to be defective or crazy or whatever other language you can come up with to sort of dismiss or devalue me. But when all is said and done, at the core of what you are, what does your gut tell you? And yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there. I'm back on my vegan kick, man. Dude, hungry. But yeah, man, it's interesting. I was wondering how I was gonna perform in this. Hopefully I dialed in. I don't think that I need caffeine, and again, this is the reason why I wanted to try this out tonight. Just no crutches. Like, I'm equipped to do it all as I am. So let me show up to the party empty-handed and see how it goes. We got right down here. Y'all can catch me on Facebook Live. I shoot these podcasts Mondays and Wednesdays. And I'm always shooting from the hip too. So nothing rehearsed, just explaining principles, describing them according to how I see them. Always think of shit to say afterward too, like, oh man, I should have said that. I forgot that point. So hopefully I'll catch it in if I missed anything in this particular episode, then hopefully I'll catch it in the next. But yeah, just you can catch me on Facebook Live, which you see me shooting from right here. I'm also on Instagram too, and I need to shoot some more content for Instagram. I usually do that in the summer months, just because I like being outside when I do that. But yeah, I still need to do that. I'm gonna catch up on it. Also write and post pieces to Medium, and then also I am on YouTube. I upload all of these podcasts to the YouTube page so that y'all can go back through these at your own time. I know Facebook cycles them out of rotation, and well, they're all numbered and cataloged over on YouTube. So yeah, that should help. And yeah, if you guys ever get any sort of benefit out of this and you want to just bless your boy with a little bit of love, you can always hit me up on Cash App at Donick Hang. And then also feel free to join the Patreon family. I'm trying to build this up to a larger platform. I want to reach as many people as I possibly can before I'm out of this body, and I'm 45. That's crazy. It's crazy. Hopefully the years haven't been too bad on me. No, I'm joking, man. How'd I get a zit, man? It's crazy. It was like, yeah, take that, Donald King. Humble yourself. And I was like, yes, sir. Never mind getting humbled by reality. Humans try to humble me. That's it's a different affair. Because every time somebody wants to humble you, it's usually a narcissist coming to you. You need to be humble for me. And you're like, you don't see that's wildly narcissistic just go around expecting people to humble themselves for your comfort and convenience? That's weird. It's a weird thing to do. Yeah, but oh yeah, I forgot to mention my Patreon is Avatar Cycle XIII. That's Avatar Cycle 13. So you can go over there and check me out on that platform. Yeah, man. So wow. I wonder how this one turned out. I really do. You know what? Let's do just a brief recap just to help sort of cement the ideas. Intuition. Again, intuition, it is a sensory faculty akin to oh man, I got my brother Beeve. What's going on, man?
Donald, what's happening, man? Tell me something good, brother.
Hey, I'm actually right about to close up the podcast right now, so it's like I actually want to say hey, and then I'm gonna hit you right back in like around three minutes or so. All right?
Something on your podcast, brother.
Hey, I can't wait to get you on the podcast. We gonna politic and parlay.
Definitely. Call me back, brother.
Yes, sir. In just a few minutes. All right.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. Yeah, so this is my brother V, but yeah, so just back to the point. I probably need to try some calls like that too. Have people call in real time. But again, intuition is a sensory faculty akin to sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell, and kinesthesia. Okay, it is an inlet for information. If you are practiced in syncing up with reality via honesty and reasoning, then that inlet for information is going to open up and reality is going to be able to communicate with you. The more that you practice dialing into reality is the easier the body of reality can communicate with you and the less corrupt you're going to be. But if you spend all your time in your identity, if you spend all of your time wrapped up in your inner story, then you're fundamentally divorced from reality and your faculty of intuition is going to be really low. The only thing you're going to know how to do is pursue what you desire. And what you desire most will always, in some way, shape, or form, fall back to consumption. It is the parasitic mind. You have to think your way out of parasitism. You have to honest your way out of parasitism, but it's possible. You have to practice being whole and authentic. You have to practice living for balance. You have to practice living for reality. It's your man, Donald King. I'm out.